Welcome back everyone for the final video in the 8 Kings series. So far we've gone over areas 1 through 7 and I've introduced you to 7 of the strongest beings in the Toriko universe. And like I said, I saved the densest and most fleshed out continent for last. So without further ado, typical YouTuber shtick, like, share, subscribe, and help me make this channel a home for all Toriko fans and more. Now let's get into Area 8. Area 8, also known as the Rain Continent, due to the presence of the Horse King, this continent has a massive variety of constantly shifting weather. Though most of the continent is barren, it has pockets of life scattered throughout, and one of the only remaining Gourmet World civilizations, Hex Food World, is located here. The denizens of Hex Food World would be best described as Oni, trolls, etc., but are actually the descendants of the races once enslaved by the Blue Nitro. Toriko and the group first landed in Area 8 in the Golden Swamp and were forced to retreat into its depths, which reportedly was a maze that twisted and turned for miles. They fled underneath because a steel thunderstorm of feet fell, and these feet don't rise after years, thus pushing them further into the labyrinth. As I said earlier, the weather in Area 8 varies on an unbelievable scale. There are sections with massive raindrops called mega rain, areas where life prospers with fertilizer rain, though they called it manure rain, areas where calamity hits in the form of meteor rain, there's even soul rain, poison rain, and hail, and one of the most notable, laser rain that is actually light-based. Area 8 also contains countless other areas that have high or low gravity, some areas where there's little to no oxygen, or areas like the heat planet where you will literally dry out at a cellular level in seconds. This area is how Toriko got his first introduction to the Gourmet World, where he ultimately fell and had to be rescued by Jiro, as he couldn't keep up with the constant environmental changes. Area 8 is, in my opinion, the most fleshed out continent next to Area 7, and we know the environment within it is one of the harshest in the Gourmet World, requiring mastery of one's cells. It contains the final ingredient to Akasha's full course, the fruit dish air. And air is actually quite abundant in Area 8. As usual, it is also a part of the area's life cycle itself. Air fruits appear to be capable of producing enough oxygen to sustain areas simply by their presence. However, the air tree from which they grow causes the ratio of components in the air to be different from normal. So there can be dense oxygen, carbon monoxide, or carbon dioxide. You could feel fine next to an air tree, and then the next one could suffocate you. Another one might give you oxygen poisoning. Air fruits can only thrive if their trees are properly fertilized by strong energy forces, leading during times of peril for other creatures to sacrifice themselves in order to fuel the air trees. When an air fruit matures, obviously it falls from the tree, the largest of which have a circumference of nearly a mile. When they fall, they release large amounts of air which can supply nutrition to herbivores or creatures who basically eat through breathing, such as the Horse King and its brood. Again, the largest of the air fruit can release enough oxygen to supply entire planets, and it's actually kind of sad, because the Blue Nitro are the ones who developed the method of harvesting the largest of air before it matured and could benefit the ecosystem. This theft by the Blue Nitro caused grave effects on not only the ecosystem of Area 8, but even the creatures within it, such as the Horse King. Because even the Horse King couldn't interfere, because if it got too close, its very presence would shock the fruit and ruin it. This not only stunted the growth of many of the Horse King's children, it directly led to the stagnation of Area 8. When the massive air fruit falls, it's said to create hundreds of rainbows that can be crossed and allow for travel outside of Area 8. And it's at this moment, the Horse King is said to give birth requiring 100 times the normal amount of air, and its young child would tear through the world, showcasing its strength and namesake, the Nightmare. The Nitro for thousands of years directly led to interfering with this and the decline of the Nightmare species in Area 8 overall. There's more in regards to Bizarre Food World and its members like Mappy, who was once one of the strongest warriors in the entire region, and his car, the Croakswagon, but I'll leave that for later. For now, we journey to the final area of Area 8, Nightmare Hill. Home to not just creatures like Zebra's pet Daruma horse or Achiryu's Janus unicorn, but home to the 8th king and the final of this series, the Nightmare Heracles. The final king is next to Bambina, my favorite, and we got to see a decent showcase of Horse King Heracles, coming in at a staggering 30,000 meters long, or 19 miles, and standing 22,000 meters tall, 14 miles, and weighing 2 trillion metric tons. Heracles is the noble steed of the 8 kings and ruler of Area 8. For scale, The Horse King is so massive it could stand in the Marianas Trench and look down on Mount Everest, and it is perhaps the largest of the 8 kings, and next to Guinness is the only one where we can truly see examples of its power being displayed. Heracles and its brood are known as a phantom species. Mythical in proportion, this species possesses a near immortal healing factor, shown even in an infant Heracles, which Elg, who grafted it to himself, could heal from attacks that burned him at cellular levels and rapidly adapt in order to attack. A single breath is said to allow Heracles to fight for an entire month and could sustain it for even longer. And that would be because when Heracles takes a full breath, it creates a literal vacuum, similar to that of space, a void if you will. In this void, similar to space, it would be devoid of oxygen, much less anything else. It would make areas' temperatures very, very cold. The baseline temperature of space is 2.7 kelvins minus 451.81 degrees Fahrenheit, or barely above absolute zero, the temperature at which molecules stop moving. Heracles creates this void as a byproduct of when it inhales, because it inhales 360 billion tons of air in a single breath, in volume an amount on par with the amount of water in the Atlantic Ocean. This is the reason for massive shifts in local air distribution and directly responsible for the extreme weather that occurs in Area 8. Alternatively, with a single exhale, or more like a snort, Heracles cut Toriko in half and makes a nearly mile-wide crater. This king, for the first time, forced Toriko's blue demon to the surface, and it was mainly just because Toriko wasn't ready for the scale of this fight. Additionally, this fight with Blue showed us that we'd be forgiven for thinking the Horse King is slow. It dodged an attack from the Blue Oni and countered with a kick that literally shook the entire continent of Area 8, and as Blue states, it would have sent him to outer space if he took the full brunt of the attack. The Blue Demon was so powerful at the time that it and the Horse King formed a giant Emperor Ring, and we know Emperor Rings are only formed when the strongest creatures meet in combat. The Horse King, when confronted with the mighty Blue Ogre, simply decided to inhale, turning the entire area into a void and forcing even the Blue Ogre back into Toriko's body, though Toriko did survive this void. Heracles' attacks cut through the earth itself and never show signs of stopping, and it did this on numerous occasions throughout the series. It's shown in the manga that we can call it lucky. Heracles never fired downward at the planet. Its breath is so strong, when it one-shotted a fragment of Neo, the attack reached hundreds of miles away and pierced into Area 7, even clipping the Monkey King, who was ecstatic. Its breath was shown easily destroying the clouds of steel, and the metal of these clouds barely took any damage after being hit by Toriko's leg knife. Heracles' breath bores through the earth and creates a hole, and again pierces through and hits Akasha during the battle with the 8 kings for God. But unlike any of the other kings, the truly amazing thing we got to find out is that the Horse King is maybe a hermaphrodite species, I don't know, they breathe air, it could get weirder. But we got to see Heracles give birth and usher in one of the competitors for the next Gourmet World power struggle, the child nightmare Hera. And even this creature giving birth was spectacular. Along with the air arc receiving massive love and in-depth writing, we saw it all tie together in the end for the birth of a new nightmare. The Air Fruit, the Horse King, and survival of Area 8 were literally all tied together. And I know we have our issues with Shimakuro as a person, but as an author, he created a true masterpiece with the first Gourmet World arcs. And it's a shame they only really explored continents were basically 7, 8, and 1, because each has an ecosystem as symbiotic as Area 8 or even the oceans of Area 6 or also Area 8, because you can't access Pear without going for the literal nuts of the Monkey King first. But wrapping up, if I had to rank the 8 kings personally, which is kind of impossible considering they're all godlike beings in their own right, I'd put Skydeer as rank number 1. The ability to trap enemies in a separate dimension, use hyperbolic time chamber hacks to get stronger, and employ beasts strong enough to stand against the other 8 kings makes it nearly unstoppable in my opinion. Next, I'd place Well King Moon with the ability to create localized fucking black holes. In short, anybody not able to achieve a speed faster than light will be torn apart by the event horizon of the black hole. Third, I'd have to say Heracles because it's stated with Destroy Breath, all living things need air, and outside of Akasha, no being in Toriko ever really dodged or tanked its full wrath. And from here, I can't really say. Daryl's has a dimensional laser, Guinness and Bambina hit harder than the asteroids that killed the dinosaurs, the Crow King can incinerate you with shadows, and the Mother Snake, though the largest, could easily be the weakest or the strongest. It's still hard to say, like I said. Let me know, what do you guys think in the comments? Every single one of the 8 kings possesses speed, perception, and reactions on a micro scale level. Each could, as I said earlier, likely easily destroy the planet they reside on if not for the bountiful wealth of food that keeps these warlords satisfied. Now, the final god of Toriko, or Toriko, will get his own video soon, and that god is Akashia, the guy I've casually mentioned this entire time as he fought these god level beings and won. But for now, thanks for watching the video, guys. I really appreciate your continued viewership and support. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers, which is a bit unreal, but help out, leave a like in the video, and click that bell icon to know when we dive back into Toriko. As always, stay sane and stay safe, and we give thanks for the bounty of this universe.